What's up, traders? Welcome back. Today, we have another awesome trade recap. We're going to go over a EurJpy short position that both Ryan and I were in. What's up, Ryan? I appreciate you being here with me, brother.
What's up, everyone? Thanks. I definitely appreciate it. Still being here.
So this trade was interesting, and I think it's kind of cool to come back to this now. Today is Monday, June 29th. We're going back to Friday, June 26th. And I have my P&L here just because for me, I had one major lesson stick out. And I think it was that if I follow my rules really well, the market, the trading universe, it's going to turn around and reward me. And you guys can all see that. Ryan and I were just talking about this, how I actually had to close some of this position, take a small loss on it in order to, like I just said, kind of have the universe, the trading universe, put the market back in my favor and let probabilities play out as they normally do, where I was then able to come in, close the rest of the trade in profit, cover that small piece that I closed, and still end profitable. Did you have anything that stuck out? Before we get into the chart, did you have anything that like stuck out as a lesson, Ryan?
On this one, I think the patience definitely paid off, and the fact of the idea of being conservative, especially on a Friday. Some guy in the chat was like wild card Friday, and it's true because like we were just talking about, a lot of things went in the opposite direction. So when things are up in the air, kind of like on Fridays or Mondays, it's good to be conservative.
Definitely. Even like, so for me, I can relate to that a lot. Today, I'm moving this week. We have this big journey coming up on Thursday where we got to pack the house and drive it in a U-Haul. Why would I come in this week, even on the trade that I took this morning, and hit that with a size, with position size that could potentially leave a bad taste in my mouth? So I think if you have other stuff going on, whether it's a Friday or a Monday where you're moving or your grandma died, whatever it is, if you're going to be at the charts and have those other distractions, it's a good point to mention there that you can never really go wrong sizing down, right? What's the worst that happens? You make a little bit less money. You know what I mean? Now, as we get into the chart here, it's cool to see this breakout happen. And I think, like you said, patience for you is going to be the key. I ended up getting in this trade at about 5:15 my time. It broke out for a new low of day. If you guys take a look, that bar off the red 21 EMA, the body closes for a new body low of day. And it fell for me with my 8 pip stop. It fell about 9 or 10 pips. So I got about 1R very quickly within 30, 45 minutes. And then it turned around to retest this purple divergence line. And you said the divergence line was kind of the issue that kept you out, right, Ryan? Like you waited on that?
Yeah, like that stupid GN trade I always bring up, where it comes right to the divergence line and then it just
bounces.
That's what I was looking at. That's what kept me out in the RSI too.
Did you use these same 2 points, like RSI there, and then the price that came a little lower there? Was that the same 2 points that you used to draw the divergence?
Yes. Now I saw it as a layer of divergent, but I didn't see the entire thing as divergent, as that wasn't the lowest low. There's probably a lower point earlier in the week. So I didn't see the whole pair as being divergent, but definitely you have to respect that layer of divergence that's there.
What do you think about the idea that divergence in a situation like this, where the RSI is not at oversold, it's not as significant? Do you believe that, or do you think that it still has value even though it's not at a 30 or under, it's at a 35 value?
I think it still has value because, I mean, look what happened. It kind of just, it broke a little bit and then it took back off, and I don't know what the reason, what the reasoning for that is. So it can still react off of it. But with divergence like this, I'm certainly not going to call a reversal from it,
Fair, very fair. So it's like, I won't flip and go the opposite direction. I might just be more hesitant to lean into the trend here because of this presenting. Whether it's at oversold or not, that really just determines on if you're going to go for a reversal. This is more just like, I like that a lot, honestly. This is more just like, hey, pay attention. This might not be super clean. It makes a lot of sense.
I'm taking it into my grading, but again, I'm not going to take a D2 out of it, right? Try to call the bottom.
Absolutely. Very fair. Did you also pay attention to how yesterday it was coming off of the low? So you had Thursday's low set right here, and it was it tried to use that as support here in the Asian session, couldn't use it, and actually came down and then was using it as resistance. And I love seeing this, where we get all these pins up here towards that zone. I really like that because it showed me it couldn't hit the 21. So once it used the 21 for support, I was like, all right, we're breaking the divergence that I have drawn. This makes sense. But that initial 1R was not what I thought I was, like, that was not what I got in the trade for. 1R was not what I was looking for. It's a really good liquid 50, really good EMAs. I was looking for at least 2R on this trade. So when it turned around and I closed half of it, you started to get interested in it, right? Because it was holding the 21 EMA, and you took your entry here on the next bar off the 21 EMA, right? This 3 candle formation.
Correct. Yeah, that's when I got in, because the RSI was a lot more clearly through the trend line and the liquid 50.
And also at that point, you could really say that the divergence was broken here, retested, and this was the move off the divergence line. You know what I mean? Just like almost as a structure point. My only hesitation in where you got in, and like, so for me, you guys saw, like, let me pull up the P&L again. You can see I took that L as it came back up, and I actually got back in. You see how there's another sell price here? Yeah. I got back in when this candle, same time as you, when the candle closed, because that's an entry signal for us with an A1. So would you have closed half the trade as you did, or would you have, as I did, or would you have just said, all right, I'm either going to wait for the 21 to break, or I'm going to get out now? What is your approach in that situation?
If it holds a 21, I would have kept the piece in. I wouldn't have closed some. If it does,
so you wouldn't have closed any at all. Just on an 8 EM, you wouldn't have closed any of it all just on this break here, like I did. This would not have been close half, close nothing. You're saying, wait, let's see if we hold the 21.
Correct. Had it been like, okay, so had it been just kind of, honestly, here, now that I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit more, I probably would have, because what I was just about to say is, like, if it starts playing around with me, like if it can't set, if it wants to fall through, or, you know, basically playing around in and out of profit, then, you know, that little bit of indecision, coming up to the 21, I probably would have closed half. I mean, honestly, the only way to really tell is kind of living it, you know, in this particular case, because there's so much to weigh out.
What do you think about the idea? So like up here is the shift candle from the Asian session, and it's a JPY pair. So that makes sense that you see that shift from 1 a.m. into 2 into 3 a.m. Like that's Asia into London. So to me, that was like the level 1. And this was level 2 consolidation into the level 2 breakout. So I was looking at this formation, you know, with the term, the level 3 push, which we know is not always guaranteed. So when you see a level 3 setup, when you see that second or third kiss off the 21 to set up the formation, do you anticipate, like, how do you ever think this could be a runner, I'm going to hold this, or this might only drop for 40 minutes and then it might turn around? Is there any thought in there, or is that just why you lock the stop and shut up?
Yeah, lock the stop and shut up. That's why you got to take the candle by candle, because, I mean, look at everything else. Yeah, it's level 3 that's not guaranteed, but it's not oversold. That divergence is broken. You still have room on ADR. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Right. You have to at some point put the risk on. I agree. Let's take a look at the higher time frames. I think that's important too. If we just zoom out here for a quick second.
Oh yeah.
I think that the 1 hour here was very telling. So the TDI would keep you short biased as that L50 falls over from the day before, and price is holding the 8. But look at how it pins that 800 EMA on the 1 hour. And we know that it can go through. We know that trading counter trend, you can get through that. But isn't it interesting there how it pins it?
Literally just touches it and nope, nope, I don't like this.
Which is important for us and everybody listening to, you know, this is why you have to use all the time frames in your analysis. You want to pay attention to the higher time frames to say, hey, yeah, there's a perfect 15-minute setup, but the 1 hour is showing me a level of support that we might bounce off of. In fact, what did we do last time we got to the 800? Oh, would you look at that? We bounced off of it. We couldn't stay underneath it. So what do you think would happen when we get to it here? You know what I mean? Just simple logic. And then over time, when you have a system like we do, you've done markups even enough, Ryan, to know that when you trade counter trend to the 800, some of them, they go through it, some of them they do not, and they move away from it like this one did for 2 days, right?
That's what I mean. I've probably said it in every single video that we've done. Just because a trade idea works does not mean that it was a good trade idea. Like, you know, it could have powered through the 800, that 800 and continue for another, you know, 30 or 40 pips, and everyone would be like, oh, that was the trade of the day. No, it wasn't. Look at everything else. Right.
Look at everything else, and then even to the higher time frames again. The 4 hour here, the L50 is short bias, but looking at the EMAs, you can see the 800 down here, the 200 here. So you can see they're not perfect. You are outside the 8, but they're not perfect for shorts. And let's take a look at the daily really quick. Yeah, the daily was a tough short as well. Because if you we were right at the 21 EMA with an L50 in the buy zone. And we know, look what it's doing now. We know it can hold that 21. In the same sense, look, this is like going the opposite way towards the 800. See?
Yeah.
Where you'd be looking to trade up to that 800. So I think we just, that's the pattern recognition over time. You start to see the same thing. Okay, we know it's support. Yeah, do we want it to go through? Of course. But does that mean that it's going to do what we want? No, that's not what we're here to do, right? We have to just react.
Yeah.
On this day, when you were like looking through everything else, as we come back to the 15-minute, what led you, other than the EMAs, the ADR space, and the TDI setup, what led you to this pair? Because I know we were also looking at, if I go back, we were looking at EuroCAD, I believe. If I go back to here, and as you can see, just no entry here on Friday, the 26th. It actually set us up for my trade today, where we were able to get some movement to the upside. But here on Friday, with that swapping liquid 50, I didn't find any entry down here. I wanted to be able to get long off the 50, but it just didn't line up. And then I think going toe to toe, would you rather trade a swapping liquid 50 like this? Or would you rather just trade the nice clean liquid 50 like this, Yeah.
Hands down, you have to go with what your parameters are, right? And someone commented on my video one time, right? He's a cool dude. I like him, but he was like, he says, I think you're taking your trading a little bit too technically. I was like, well, that's exactly what our system is. It's a technical system.
Of course. Right.
So of course, regardless of how these trades play out, obviously you don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm going to go with what my probabilities say based on my back testing and based off what I've learned from the system. And regardless, again, of how they work out, you have to stick with the probabilities. And that's why on Friday, when EurCAD, fell off, fell off the table there, you have to, your probabilities are no longer in line, and you have to adapt to it and maybe remove it from your watch list and move on to something else. Like EJ.
Exactly. The only thing that would keep you attached at that point would be fear of missing out, which is rooted in scarcity. And if you're living in a scarce mindset, then you're not going to become consistent in trading. You have to live in this mindset of abundance if you're actually going to make this work. And I know you also had
married to the idea.
Yeah, just married to like, oh my God, I have to short EuroCAD today. I have to. No, you don't. Why can't you just go short EuroJPY when it's cleaner? Yep. Like you did that so well today. Even comparing it, go back 2 weeks ago where you and I not had a disagreement, but we were talking about an L50, perfect L50 off the 50 EMA versus a not perfect L50 off the 200. Then we go into that disagreement. You and I have a conversation in front of everybody. We dialogue it out. We learn from it. Now look at what you did today. You picked the winning trade right off the 50 EMA with the perfect L50 on GBP AUD, and you crushed it. We'll go into that one in a second. But even I just wanted to touch on this because Friday, I know you were looking to short Euro AUD. You had a good looking L50. It matched EurJPY. It retested the Asia high level. And I know some people were looking to short this here. But even to what I just said, if you're really listening and you understand how we trade, this is off the 200 headed towards the 50. Yes, the L50 is perfect, but I would much rather trade EurJPY under the 50 like this with the same type of L50 with the same type of setup. Just weighing those two side by side, they both look like they could come lower. But this one is where, like you said, the probabilities are. Give us some info on this GA trade that you took today. I have it marked up here, about 90 pips from your entry off the 50.
Yeah, dude. Well, I traded it as a B setup. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. But pretty much the only thing with it, from what I could tell, I mean, it wasn't divergent, but it was within the Asian range.
Yes.
Which
when you get into a setup like this, well, I actually have a good question for you that I bet you somebody watching, if they watch all 14, 15 minutes of us yapping, if they're listening still, what do you think when you get a situation like this where there's your Asian range? This is GA. This is an AUD pair. This means that it's up. It's been moving. Do you get scared trading in the Asian range with an AUD pair, or do you sometimes think to yourself, look, if there's space on ADR, this could still move? Or like, do you treat it the same?
I trade it the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I do too most of the time.
It makes sense, but I never really thought about that because, I mean, maybe like subconsciously, like, it's an AUD pair, so obviously it's going to move. Even if I'm looking for something, during, like if I'm looking to trade during Asian session, you look at your AUD base pair, so why not Euro AUD that's still being moved just on the back end rather than the front end. And this, I was looking at it because, I got home late. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to stick to the charts for a little bit and get up, and rather than sleeping 3 hours and then waking up at 2 a.m. So I just looked around for a little bit.
See if you could find something tonight before you go to bed. Right.
Yeah.
Was this just about where you entered after it made this lower high off the
Yes.
divergence?
Yeah,
Right over
I
here.
got in. I can tell you right now.
Because this would be your top set in. You know that that's the level you don't want it to break. Here it kind of gives you two ideas at what could be the lower high, right?
Yes, I got in literally right before, right there where you just marked that first point. I got in right before there. So I got in. It went up about like 8 or 9 pips, and then it came back down, and it just kind
Like
of
this
played
one?
around there for a little bit.
So somewhere right over here then.
Right before it ran up again.
Got it. So like right there.
Yeah,
Got it.
because I
Makes
saw it
sense.
come back under the 50. So when that candle closed under the 50, I clicked the button.
Yep, that makes sense. And then are you using this pin here as the stop, or are you using the top?
Yeah, no. Originally, I used the top, and then as it started coming down, I brought it
Just
back.
move it.
Yeah, just in case they wanted to retest that level.
Yep.
I set my stop up at the higher point, like at 07. But
Were you waiting?
Sorry.
Were you waiting for this to get into the sell zone?
Yeah, I mean it was already in the sell zone when at least when I got in. But it came into the sell zone, went up for a little bit, and then came back down. When I got in, it had just come back into the sell zone.
Right here, yeah, that's exactly where I see it. It just peaks into the buy zone there, but really it gets initiated here off the initial D1, and then it's respecting that. I mean, this is a really, really good read. And just to bring it back to what we were just talking about, everybody, if you just look at this, right, this is on the 15-minute. If we go back, this is perfect TDI, perfect EMAs, space on ADR, off the 50 EMA. These are the bread and butter. If the D2 or if the D1 had any bread and butter, this is it. This is the best D1 position that you're going to find. And again, it's the same idea basically. If you look at EurJpy that we were trading here, perfect L50, perfect TDI, perfect DMAs, confirmation from multiple indicators, and you're able to rock that direction and then just line up your timing. Just wait for the candle formation, wait for it to come to you. And then just to one more time say it, like you had here on EuroAUD, trading in between those EMAs, you and I both have been burned many times thinking it could come steamrolling through the bottom, and it just doesn't. It does this instead. So it's much more probable. You get exactly, if that, and then you get stopped to break even. Do you now think that if you're going to take trades, are you leaning towards, all right, I'm either getting it off the 50 or nothing, or sometimes you'll still trade off the 200 like this, just maybe size down? What are you leaning
I'll
towards?
trade off the 200. Yeah, but if I can get something off the 50, I mean, of course,
pick that one
or something off the 200. Yeah,
that makes sense. I think this is really good for everybody to be able to see how the A1, the D1, they really do work together, but also how you see these patterns across multiple pairs. We just showed you EurJpy, we showed you GBP AUD, we showed you Euro AUD. They're setting up on different pairs, different days. When people ask you, which pairs do you focus on the most? What are you telling them?
I tell them that I pretty much only trade Euro and GBP base pairs, and then I just go through and see which ones fit my probabilities the most. Perfect sense. EMAs or perfect liquid 50s. That's it. I may be fast,
yeah, and then
but otherwise no.
Yeah, but then I think also what that does is it puts us in a really good position to say to people like, look, there's going to be days where we find great trending trades like I did today, like you did today, right? And then there's also going to be days where you're not going to have a long watch list and you're just going to have to not trade. The people that can accept that, they do well with the way that we look at trading, you know?
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
Friday. I mean, I was looking at like, again, EuroCAD, and then I jumped into ACAD, which pretty much had the same thing, but in the opposite direction. But the probabilities lined up a little bit better.
Yep.
You know, like I said earlier, nothing ended up pretty much working out except even EJ. I mean, again, you got your 10, 15 pips.
Got your 2R, right? But then it turned right around. Yeah. But that's also Friday, so we should mention that too in this video, right? Going into at that point would be the last Friday of June of 2020. Fridays I wish we had an exact. I just wish we had an exact statistic to say this one Friday we saw 100 pip movers, but 10 of the other Fridays we didn't, and they get choppy, and they get that one Friday that can stick out in your mind as the day that you made a lot of money or the day you saw big movers can bias you to thinking that every Friday is like that, when more often than not, in my opinion, and again, I don't have an exact statistic, but in my opinion, Fridays and even Mondays, they're tougher days to trade because you want to see some volume, you want to see some volatility. Now today we get a ripper to ADR, both of us. That doesn't happen every Monday, but that's why you take the signals as they present, you manage them with good exit strategies, and then when you're in a winner, you let them run to that extent. So I think this is really good, bro. Do you have anything you want to leave us with for EurJpy or anything from Friday?
I think the patience paid off on both our ends. So I mean, well, patience and willpower. So
Definitely.
I had both patience and the willpower, right, to wait to get into EurJpy until I felt better about the trade, and things were a little bit more clear and obvious, right?
Sure.
And then you had, you did very well to close a little bit, to minimize your loss. Had it broken in 21 and continued up like it did later in the day. We managed to get our pips, right, pip and dip, but
that's it, bro. And it only comes because of the rules. Like, we both follow the rules well. I followed well to close, like you said, and you followed well to wait for the best possible entry, that almost late entry, to where you feel like, okay, I gotta be in this now. There's like, I gotta be, you know what I mean? But not like I gotta be because I'm missing something. I gotta be because every signal is here, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot if I don't click the button. That's the position you want to be in. Yeah,
exactly.
So this is good stuff, bro. I appreciate you doing the video as always, man. I think everybody always finds value in our little 20-minute rants. YouTube community, make sure you check out the description as well. Make sure you set up a one-on-one call with Ryan. You're not going to regret it. He'll go over markups with you. He'll go over ideas with you. He'll show you our system, whatever you need. I'll put those links down below. And Ryan, you are the man, brother. Good luck on the car this week. I think it's going to go well. I'm excited to see you take some new pictures. You got to get some new pictures of it. Maybe a picture with a chart or two as well.
You already know.
But thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See you, everyone.